Hello, and welcome to my immigration channel. In this particular week, I'd like to bring to your attention some procedures and some issues regarding what ICE seems to be doing in order to try to expand Trump's directive to deport everybody and everyone who has any crime whatsoever. Um, they being ICE, has been going into schools, to hospitals, to work, to um, courthouses, to courthouses that have nothing to do with immigration, to state courthouses. There was even a story as of last week where there was a sick 10-year-old girl being transported to the hospital, and they actually intercepted the ambulance and they escorted this little girl to make sure that she was properly processed so she could be deported. So I've heard, and they're also calling district attorneys from clients and who have or defendants who just did pleas, whether they're misdemeanors or not, in order to make a case. And so um, the officials, what I've seen is that because Trump has issued this essential, basically this order to deport everybody they can with any crime whatsoever, it seems that many ICE officials are ignoring or trying to bypass the immigration laws as they stand. Now, neither Trump nor the ICE officials can ignore the laws, okay? They can't just make them disappear. And so, people, for example, who are serving their sentences, whether misdemeanor, felony, whatever, whether in state county jails, whether in federal prison, whatever it is, um, there is no automatic deportation. Okay, there's some issues with it. They had a prior deportation and things like that. But for the most part, for people who have been here, whether they have their green cards, don't have their green cards, and so forth, once they're done with their sentence, sure, ICE can go get them and can go put them in detention. But then they have to issue a notice to appear and they have to serve it on the court, and then the person will be able to fight his or her case in immigration court. Many times they'll be able to be bonded out. There's all kinds of things that could happen. Now, what ICE knows is that if the person signs a document basically saying, I don't want to fight my case, just deport me, then they're not obligated, they being ICE, they are not obligated to serve the NTA on the court, and they can in fact deport the person the moment that they're done with serving their sentence. So I've heard all kinds of stories about lies that ICE agents will tell these people. They'll tell them they have no chance of success, they're never going to see a judge, they're going to be in immigration detention for 20 years, things like that. And then many times I've heard where they even basically lie and force them to sign the voluntary deportation document. They tell them it's the law, that they have to sign it, that they don't have a right not to sign it, that because they're not a US citizen, they don't have any rights. Just lie after lie. And these people who have no idea and are in jail, and they have an ICE official with a gun and all official looking come to their cell to interview them. What are they supposed to know? Now, I've been able to overturn those. I've been able to fight those once I find out in time. But if the person signs the voluntary deportation and actually gets deported, again, there's ways of bringing them back, but it does take more time. So what's the moral of this immigration coffee talk story? It is to not sign anything that an ICE official puts in front of you. Nothing. Okay, you have rights, you have the right to see an immigration judge, and if you sign nothing, then you will likely be in detention for a little bit, but you will be in front of the judge. Then we can do a bond redetermination hearing for you to try to get you bonded out and so forth. And so you can be nice about it. I mean, you don't have to yell at the officer or anything like that. You can say, look, I happen to have an understanding from an immigration attorney that you cannot force me to sign it, therefore I'm not going to sign. Thank you. And then, ultimately you can fight your case. And what I mean by fight your case is the law is full of ways to try to stay in the United States. If the past, Congress and legislation did not want to give opportunities for people who are not here to stay here, they would never have made laws on suspension of deportation, 212C, cancellation of removal for lawful permanent residents, cancellation of removal for permanent residents, fraud waivers, criminal waivers, medical waivers, unlawful presence waivers. I could go on and on. Why would they have made all those laws if they were just to be disregarded and just some ICE official pretending that they didn't exist? So procedurally speaking, you cannot take what the ICE official says with a grain of sand. Okay, you have to know two things. You have a right to fight your case in front of the immigration judge, and you do not have to sign anything that ICE official puts in front of you. Okay? So if you like the video, click like, subscribe, give my office a call. Be happy to give you a consultation. More on the videos in the following weeks.